What we're going to do this evening, we're keeping with our stages of meditation practice. So we'll be doing a meditation, but we're going to do the meditation towards the end of our session this evening because I want to talk about chapter 3 of the Stages of Meditation book, which is the stages of meditation on compassion. So I want to talk about that and then review the others as we go along. So, if you have your materials, if you've got your 4 thoughts to turn the mind to the Dharma, we're going to recite that. And if you've got any of your notes that we've been taking regarding the meditation on love and the meditation on compassion, which we're going to talk about tonight. So if you're taking notes, it'll be good. And if you have them handy, in your position where you will sit to do meditation. So you don't have to be scrambling later on. And you've got your book, of course. So, okay, so first we're going to do our opening prayers. So I'll recite the short refuge prayer and the 4 immeasurables. So if we've got our 101 Buddhism book, our prayers, so you can recite along with me, but please mute your microphones, but it's you should recite out loud with your microphone muted. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. Sangye chodang soki chodam Shangshu Badu Dagni Kapsu Chi Dagi Jinsoki Pe Sonamgi Jola Penshir Sange Juparsho. May all mothers sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mothers sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Manam kadam yampe semchen tam she dewa dang dewe gudang dempar jorchi. Dugnal dang dunal gi gudang drawar jorchi. Dugnal me pe dewa dang midra war jorchi. May ring chak dang ni dang draway tang namla ne pa jorchi. Okay. So when we sit down to meditate, we prepare ourselves by watching our breath or using some similar object of meditation. But watching our breath is very, very useful, very easy to do, and something that we always have with us. So we don't need to have any tools around or anything like that. We just watch our breath. And then we meditate on love. So to meditate on love, to help us, we focus on our mother. We focus on our parents. We focus on the ones who have raised us. And we look at those beings as beings that have helped us many times, and that we have been fathers and mothers ourselves to other people. So the meditation on love is based upon our parents, our mother and our father. So to help us remember that, there's 6 points. So we talked about these last weeks, but I want to clearly identify them. So if you're taking notes, this would be very helpful. So the first is to reflect on the mother's kindness that she has shown us by carrying us in her womb. And for 9 months or so, and having to make great sacrifices of her own personal comfort and freedom to be able to do many things that she might otherwise be doing to enable us to be born properly, to grow in the womb. So the first is the kindness the mother has shown us by carrying us. The second is the kindness the mother has showing us by giving us life, by birthing us. And that can be very, very risky. And many women lose their lives or hurt themselves when they are giving birth. So remembering that our mother has been prepared to be able to give her life for our own benefit, for us to have life, that she would choose to pass away herself rather than allow her child to die in childbirth. So the third kindness that the mother has shown us is that during the time that we were an infant, all the way through our time to go to school and so on, she showed us what to take up and what to abandon. In other words, the things, what to learn, how to talk, how to walk, how to feed themselves, how to take care of themselves, how to use the bathroom, and so on. All these things our parents, our mother, has taught us. So many times this has been very frustrating for the mother, but nevertheless, they do this very, very happily, joyfully, to help their children to learn. So the third is the kindness that the mother has shown as to what to adopt and what to abandon. Abandoning things like not taking care of themselves, dangerous things like not putting their hands on the stove or walking out into the street by themselves, things that we might take for granted now, but as a child, as a mother, we think about these things constantly to assure that our children are going to be safe as they're growing up and learn good habits. So the third is the kindness of the mother who has shown us what to take up, what to adopt, and what to abandon. The fourth is the kindness of the mother for the sacrifices that she made in her own life. She may very willingly have wanted to have children, and she was happy to do that, but many mothers had become pregnant and weren't expecting to, and maybe they realized that once they did become pregnant and had children, that how all-consuming that is, and that for a number of years, their life is completely devoted to their children. So the excuse me. So the sacrifices that the mother has made for the sake of the child is number four, the kindness that the mother has shown for that. Then number five is our mother of this life actually has been our mother many times before. That as we have had many, many lives before and we've been born many times, we look at our mother as being our mother many, many times before. So this is a mindfulness, and whether this is literally true or not, we can't say for sure. But when we think of all beings, we think of all beings as being our mother in past lives. And what this enables us to do, is to be able thinking of all beings as our mother. And as we would have loving kindness for our mother in all these situations because of the things that she has done, and now because she has been our mother many times in past lives, we regard all beings as being our mother in past lives. And then number 6 is that we allow this to manifest in our mother for now, to think of our mother that she has been our mother many times, and she is our mother now, and that in her, wherever she is, if she is alive now or she has passed, but we always want to be able to think that whatever we are doing is to be able to help sustain the teachings that the mother has given us, and that to be a good child as a result of our mother training us to do the proper things and so on. So we're always carrying our mother with us, whether she is alive today, whether she lives nearby or she lives far away, or that she has passed, and we are carrying the teachings with us that she gave us. So these are the 6 kindnesses that we think of to help us to generate and sustain love for all beings, as if all beings are our mothers. So remember the prayer that we recite, the 4 immeasurable qualities. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness in the causes of happiness. That is, we're looking at all these beings as being our mothers. So we're looking at them for loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. So that's a review of where we were from last week. So then now this week, we're talking about compassion. So thinking of the mother in regard to compassion. So here is this quotation that I will read to you from the special bodhicitta practice that is done in the 5-fold path of Mahamudra. So it says, the method, compassion, to develop the method, compassion. So it says, even though these mothers that we've been talking about, even though these mothers desire happiness, by the force of their non-virtuous action, they are tortured in the 3 lower realms. Because of their unbearable suffering, I develop unbearable compassion. So our mothers showed us great love, as we've just identified. They made great sacrifices for our benefit, but they have had other things that have happened in their lives that we may not be aware of at all. They may have had karmas from past lives that did not come to fruition in the lifetime that we knew our mothers. So they're carrying with them that karma. And sometimes that karma is very serious karma and something that has to be allowed to manifest and to be able to neutralize, to overcome. And it may be in the lower realms. So we visualize that all these beings who have non-virtue in their lives, despite the fact that they were our mothers, they had non-virtue in their lives that had to manifest. So, and they may be tortured in the 3 lower realms. So the 3 lower realms of the hell realms, the hungry ghost realm, and the animal realm. So because of their unbearable suffering, I develop unbearable compassion. So we've talked about the 6 human realms. We've talked about the hell realms, the hungry ghost realm, the animal realm, and then the 3 higher realms, the human realm and the jealous God realm and the Deva realm, the God realm. So we visualize that our mother is suffering in each of these realms, just as we are. We said that these are the 6 human realms of the psychophysical drama that all human beings go through. So we would not want to suffer. We don't want to suffer. We don't want other beings to suffer. And we don't want our mothers to suffer especially. So by regarding all beings as our mothers, suffering in these 6 realms helps us to be able to have compassion for each and every one of them. So we visualize that our mother is suffering in the hell realms, being tortured by demons, being dying over and over again, being revived from their death, only to die another death over and over and over again, being tortured by their demons. So these demons may be, those demons like we have within ourselves that are causing or that are leading us to do negative, very bad negative deeds and so on. So that we have compassion for ourselves, but we need to have compassion for our mothers, who are all these sentient beings, that they are being tortured by these demons who are killing them and then reviving them and killing them and reviving them over and over again. And then we visualize our mothers that are experiencing hunger and thirst in the hungry ghost realm, the Preta realm, it's called, Preta, the Preta realm. And the hungry ghost realm are the hungry ghosts are these insatiable beings that are completely miserable because they can never, ever be satisfied. They're big, rotund bodies. They have short arms, short legs, very long necks, and very, very small mouths. And they can never consume enough food or water to be able to satisfy them. But also it can be power, it can be knowledge, it can be the work that they do, so many ways in which this manifests in the life of a human being. So we wouldn't want our mother to be suffering in this way, in the hungry ghost realm. So we have compassion for all these beings that are suffering from their misery, from their miserableness, of their insatiability. And then we visualize the mother as an animal, being beaten and eaten as an animal, that these animals are easily enslaved by humans, and that they are slaughtered and eaten by human beings. Their animals are eating each other. They're seeking each other to satisfy each other's hunger and so on. So the animals are going through this constant terror of having to survive in a very violent world in which they live. So we visualize our mother as an animal, and we wouldn't want our mother to be suffering in that way. And we don't want any beings to be suffering in that way either. So whether they're human beings or whether they're animal beings or whether they're fish or whatever degree of sentient being they may be, we don't want them to suffer. We show them compassion. And then suffering of sickness and old age in the human realm. That when our mother was living, and if she's alive now, and we have compassion for her in her sicknesses. We have compassion for her in her old age. And we look at all other beings as being our mother, and we have helpfulness, compassion for them, loving kindness to try and show them the grace to be able to have a comfortable life, particularly in their older years and so on. So we look at all beings as being our mother, and we don't want them to suffer needlessly in their old age, their sickness, and in their death. So we regard our mothers in that way to develop compassion. And then we think of our mothers and as a demigod, a jealous god. And these gods have heedless pleasure or careless pleasure, just very, very self-enamored with their abilities and so on. And they may have great talents and great wealth and great knowledge of things that they can do, and that they are able to manipulate many, many people and so on through all this. But they do this very selfishly, and they're in constant conflict. So this heedless pleasure that they have, this careless pleasure that they have, and this conflict that they are always in, we wouldn't want that for our mother. We wouldn't want that for all beings. If we had the ability to be able to rescue them from that suffering, needless suffering, we would do whatever we could to help our mother with that. So we have compassion for the beings that are in the demigod realm, the jealous god realm. And then the sixth realm is the Deva realm, the God realm. And these beings are have great, great, great pleasure. They are adored by many, many beings, and they have no sense of compassion for the suffering of others, for these who adore them and who are supplicating them to come and help them in their lives, to bring water for them, to bring food for them, to bring money for them, to bring, children for them, all these different things that people are known to supplicate the gods for. These gods are isolated. They don't recognize that. They have no compassion. They are caught up in their own aggrandizement of being a god, and they have no sense of the pain and suffering that others go through. However, they have a great falling, that there is a time when they fall from grace. There is a time when they fall out of favor. There is a time when people abandon them because they have been supplicating these Deva gods, but the Deva gods have not been responding to them and not giving them what they want. So as civilizations fall, the gods of those civilizations fall. And these gods have a desperate falling down from the pride that they had in the god realms. And they fall to the lower realms because during the time that they were gods, they had all this ability to help many beings, but they didn't. And now all those beings are suffering in the lower realms, and the gods themselves then fall to the lower realms in retribution for the things that they did or did not do when they had the opportunity to help other beings. So we have compassion for those gods. We have compassion for our mother. If our mother becomes a god, if we may think of our mother as a god, we may think of our mother as someone who is very holy. We may think of her as someone who had all the answers and who was able to have great wisdom and did wonderful things for us. But we don't know, how it is that she may have fallen, from that as she continued in her life and as she passed away and into the bardos of the intermediate bardos, of the intermediate lives that we go through and so on. So by thinking of our mother in these six realms, these six human realms, and the suffering of each of these six human realms, we wouldn't want our mothers to suffer any of these sufferings in these realms. We wouldn't want to suffer these ourselves, and we wouldn't want others to suffer them. So in order for us to be able to have compassion for ourselves, but especially to have compassion for others, we think of all beings as being our mothers and suffering in these psychophysical human realms like this. So these are techniques that help us to focus on our meditation. When we first sit down to meditate and our mind is drifting away and thinking about all different kinds of things, that we are mindfully bringing our mind to think about how fortunate we are to have this human life, to have this precious human life, that how fortunate we are to have the awareness of impermanence, so that we're not deluded by permanence. Not deluded by permanence, we recognize the impermanence. And so that through that, we are able to prepare ourselves and to be able to prioritize things within our lives and so on. And that we are able to recognize the sufferings of samsara, or sometimes it's called the faults, F-A-U-L-T, faults, the faults of samsara. Samsara, it sometimes it seems to be this very beautiful place. It's wonderful. It's magnificent. There's so on a day like today when the sun is shining and it's a cool breeze coming and everything is green and lush and it's beautiful and very nice, and we can get seduced within that beauty and thinking, well, this is the way it is, and all this is worth it to be able to enjoy this. So this is a fault of samsara, because this day will turn into thunder showers. It will turn into hail. It will turn into great storms. It will turn into floods. It will turn into hurricanes. It will turn into earthquakes. Just as quickly as we have these beautiful days, that's how quickly the earth can turn on us and everything becomes a catastrophe. So these are the faults of samsara, and for us to be able to recognize them and not become obsessed with them and not to become so lost in them that we recognize the suffering that is here, even if it's not our personal suffering, but we can see the suffering that other beings are going through in other parts of the world and so on. So we have to have that empathy. We have to understand, we have to recognize that. And everything that we do is for the benefit of other beings. So the faults of samsara. And then we recognize the karma, cause and result, because it's the karma, cause and result that is the reason why we are in these 6 human realms. If there was no karma, then there would be no retribution. There would be nothing for us to have to be in these realms. But because there is this karma that is the result of these actions, the result is our being born into these samsaric existences with suffering and so on. There is happiness, like I said, but those happinesses aren't permanent. They change. And so what we are trying to do is to liberate ourselves from the suffering. So even within this lifetime, we can do that. Within a lifetime, we can liberate ourselves from suffering, and we can do that by degree. It doesn't have to be complete, perfect enlightenment, but there can be gradations, there can be progress that is made as we experience our lives and so on. And then we carry that on from life to life. And this is why we have this precious human life that we have now, is because of the past deeds that we have done and that we have brought to this life. And the benefits that we have in this life are the results of those deeds. But there are increasing benefits to have for the benefit of other beings. So this becomes our motivation. This becomes our bodhicitta. This is why we are born again, in order to be able to help other beings to be liberated from their suffering. So the next point that is in this teaching, in this part of the bodhicitta of the Fivefold Path of Mahamudra, is to say, if one has completely integrated this compassion, if we have completely integrated this compassion into our lives, if one places the benefit of others uppermost in one's minds, then entering the fires of hell is like entering is like the joy of entering the fires of hell. Let me repeat that again. If one has completely integrated this compassion, if one places the benefit of others uppermost in one's mind, entering the fires of hell is like the joy of entering a spectacular grove. Give rise to certainty and not looking at things in terms of one's own happiness. This is the root of the Mahayana Dharma. In other words, if we are looking at things that whatever we can do to help other beings, that we will go into the fires of hell to help our mother. We would go into the confusion of the greediness of the hungry ghost realm. We would go into the animal realm, the human realm. We would go into the demigod realm, to the deva realm, whatever it takes to help our mother, to rescue our mother. So if we think of all beings as our mother, then we would do that. And we would think of it as a great joy to do that. because as a Buddha, we have no karma. There is no karma. There is no suffering. So if we can do that, if we can liberate ourselves from that suffering, then being able to abide in these realms, these samsaric realms, for the sake of our mothers, for the sake of these other sentient beings, we will gladly do that. This is the root of the Mahayana Dharma, the middle way teachings, the teachings of the two truths, the teaching of emptiness, the teachings of the Bodhisattva. All this is part of the Mahayana Dharma for the benefit of the enlightenment of other beings. Everything that is being done is for the benefit of the enlightenment of other beings. So, if one has not integrated this into one stream of being, then bodhicitta is just mere words. If we haven't taken this to heart, if we haven't enacted this, begun to purify ourselves and take these teachings to heart and be able to actualize these teachings, then everything that we've been learning is just mere words. It's just ideas that are for somebody else maybe, but not for me, or maybe for another life or something, but not for me now. They're just mere words. Bodhicitta is just mere words. So it is important to meditate on this diligently. These limitless qualities and benefits are spoken of in the sutras. So over and over again, the Buddha has talked about these things. The great masters who have come after the Buddha have talked about these things. And that what it distills down to is that if we initially, everything that we do is for the benefit of other beings. If we have everything that we begin is for the benefit of other beings, then the acceptance and the appreciation of other people, of other men, other women, other humans will be appreciated. And the gods will recognize that. The gods will see that, because this is godlike behavior, those in the Deva realm. So the acceptance and appreciation of gods and men will arise. Firmly establish the mind in this right from the beginning. So when we have an encounter, whenever we have an opportunity to do something, in the beginning of the day, if we contemplate and set out our day to be something of bodhicitta, that we are going to actualize bodhicitta for the whole entire day, then that is a step in that direction. If we don't have that mindfulness, if we don't have that mindset, then we're very easily corrupted because we're very vulnerable. We don't have that mindfulness of bodhicitta. But if we establish bodhicitta, very first thing, now we have a pathway for the rest of the day to follow. And then the next day, they begin to take care of themselves. And then we find that our life is a life of bodhicitta. So then with bodhicitta, we say, now I lack the ability to bring happiness to these migrators. I may not be that perfect. I'm not that good. I can't bring happiness to everybody. I'm not that powerful. I'm not that skilled at it. However, I do recognize it. Therefore, I engage my mind diligently to attain the supreme ultimate state. I may not be perfect, but I'm working towards that perfection. And I've got a system with which I can do that. And I'm going to bring these mother beings to complete happiness. This is my goal. This is my motivation. Therefore, I engage my mind diligently to attain the supreme ultimate state and bring these mother beings to complete happiness. Then it says, bodhicitta, the unity of emptiness and compassion. The unity of emptiness and compassion. Think about that. This is the essence of the Mahayana. The emptiness is the wisdom of recognizing that all this is all compounded nature. All this is phenomenal nature. All this is appearances. All this is fabrication of our minds. All this, so this wisdom of what that is, of recognizing that, although we work within it because this is what we have to work in, but we recognize that it's all temporary. But this is what we have to work in. This is wisdom. This is the essence of the wisdom. And the compassion is that we are caught up in this suffering along with that, that there is suffering that goes with that until we are liberated, until we are liberated. But in the meantime, we're still caught up in this, this understanding, trying to understand and perfect this wisdom and having compassion for the faults of samsara, the faults of this compounded nature. So this is the compassion. The two go together. This wisdom and this compassion go together. We have to have both in this life, in this phenomenal nature. So then it says, I make effort to practice the ultimate Dharma beyond conceptual thoughts. So what is it that liberates us? Is it that wisdom of samsara that liberates us? Is it the compassion in samsara that liberates us? No. What it is something that is beyond our conceptual thoughts, is our Buddha nature, that which is indescribable, that which is inexpressible, that which we meditate upon and have a transcendence of our suffering, a transcendence of the emptiness, a transcendence of the compassion that is inexpressible. I make effort to practice the ultimate Dharma beyond conceptual thoughts. So it's letting our mind go. It's transcending our mind, because our mind is just another concept here in this phenomenal nature. So, any comments or questions about that?
Lance, well, there's a lot of things I was digesting and listening to you. When you said we are Buddhas, so you're saying, like, for example, people have found the middle way, that we are, you said something and I should have written it down, I'm sorry. You said like a sentence that like I really stuck with me about we're not suffering. I think it was like, we're Buddhas, we're not suffering. Is that?
No, I said Buddhas are not suffering. We have Buddha potential within us, but we are not Buddhas yet.
We're suffering. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that, because I was like, I know I'm still suffering.
No, we are suffering, but we are on a path. We have a path before us. We see this path. We're being introduced to this path.
Okay.
The Buddhas are transcendent of suffering.
Okay.
And they can be in the midst of all this suffering, but yet they are not suffering.
Okay. And then one other comment I just wanted to remark that I felt was just really helpful. I loved hearing you go through each of the realms and then because I think about like my mom, who is a lot in like this negative, chaotic mindset. And that was really helpful, because as you were talking through, I literally was thinking through my own mother, who is in just this way. And so thinking about that for her, going through those realms did invoke compassion from me to her, because I struggle with that particular relationship the most in my life, and within my own family. So that was helpful, and I appreciate that, just as a personal comment. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, I sent everybody last week or so the complete text of this book, The Stages of Meditation. There are copies of it if somebody wants it. We have them at Dharma Surya, and it's available at Gardroma and so on. But I sent you the PDF of the book. So everybody's got this. So you can read these chapters and you can take your notes on the chapters. And what I've been talking about here is based on those chapters. So it's not something that has come out of thin air. there is a resource for you to go back and to study. And also these are being recorded. These sessions are being recorded. You can go back and watch these recordings or listen to them.
I think there's something about, like I have read the book and I need to reread the stages of meditation. I think there's something when you hear it and you connect what you've read with the speaker, like just to enhance comprehension.
Sure.
So I think like for me that there was a connection point for me tonight.
Okay.
So that was very relatable. So thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. Anybody else have a comment or question?
I'm sorry, what book did you send when?
I sent it in an email, maybe last Monday or Tuesday. Might have been, maybe the subject line was Stages of Meditation.
And you don't have this book. I remember like 6 weeks ago, we had this conversation and I was like, I'll mail you my copy if you want a hard copy, because I think they were out at some point. I don't know if they've reprinted them. It sounds like you can get them.
There hasn't been a reprint, but I think, we discovered a box where somewhere or something like that.
No, thank you, Zara. I don't want to take your copy, as I said then, but I appreciate the offer.
But Ed, if you want the PDF and you can't find it in your email, I'll send it to you again. No problem.
All right. I've had a busy week. I may have just overlooked that. I'll check it out.
All right.
About a week ago, you sent it, you think?
Correct. So, yeah, I mean, these books are great. I mean, the work that has gone into them, they're priceless. Everybody should know the value of these books. As Zara points out, it's great to have these teachings, these oral teachings, and so that you can relate to things and so on. It really humanizes, what the book is saying. But being able to have the book as a study guide is really an indispensable tool, I think.
Talk a little more, if you would, about you said it's everything in our minds is fabrication. Maybe you didn't say everything, but it's all we have to work with, so we do the best we can.
Yes.
And yet you're giving us a lot of stuff that taxes the mind.
Yes.
And I have only my inadequate mind to comprehend that.
Yes.
But I don't know, it just goes around in circles for me. But if my mind is all tied up in fabrication, how do I get at what's real here? I mean,
So what are we teaching? What is the essence of, or maybe not just the essence, but what is the topic? What is the sphere of stuff that we are teaching in the Dharma?
A path to enlightenment.
Right. So why haven't we attained enlightenment already?
Because we're fallible.
And how is that fallibility manifest?
Self-interested attachments, aversions, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So what we're teaching is to recognize that, what you just said,
right,
the causes of that, and then how we liberate ourselves from it. That's what we're teaching.
Right.
Now, it's all relative to this phenomenal world.
Okay.
But it all leads to the liberation from this world.
I trust you.
Thank you.
I'm doing the best.
Somebody's taking notes.
But doesn't that make sense?
Isn't this a lifestyle that you're teaching?
Well, of course. Yes, it is a lifestyle.
I mean, it's a complete change from what
Yeah.
normal
It's a way of thinking.
people do.
Yeah, we're not giving up. We're not abandoning all the all the stuff that we've been attached to and we have aversions to and stuff like that. We're not saying that you have to give it all up, but you have to look at it from a different point of view and not be so attached to it that you lose control. And up to this point, pretty much that's what we have done. We have lost control. Now we're trying to gain control. So as William points out, it is a lifestyle. You know, if we grew up in the East, you know, when the way these things were taught, we might have been grown up in a culture that supports that lifestyle. You know, if we grew up in certain, you know, specific religious families or something, because this is not unique. You know, Buddhism is not unique, you know, or the ideas, the philosophy of what's being taught is not unique. But so we're trying to create a lifestyle for ourselves and for our families and so on that speaks of this, that integrates this, that assimilates this into the lifestyle.
I'm ready.
Yeah. And again, we are already the product of that idea. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here right now. These teachings are very high teachings. They're very evolved teachings. I mean, with all the education that is represented here, you know, by everybody who's had, you know, different levels of education, but it's all been higher education, that many, many people in the world don't have a clue of what that is. But here now we're going something beyond that.
Well,
it doesn't negate what we've been able to do. It doesn't negate it, but it modifies it. You know, it's through a different lens that we're looking at things.
I don't have any trouble with that idea.
What's that?
I say it's clear to me that it's a different lens.
Yeah. So is it a worthwhile lens?
Well, I'm still here after 20 some sessions.
Well, good. Who's counting?
I am. What have I written down here? Session 11 of series 2. See?
Oh, good. Okay, great.
No, as I've told you, I thought I was signing up for 8 sessions, which I could deal with a little mind and go home. But but then we just kept going. And
well, you know, this is a new session. We started this session a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
So you might have tuned in late and missed the introduction about that, but this stages of meditation that we've been talking about these past few weeks has been the beginning of this next session.
Wow.
So we're 2 or 3 sessions into it already. So we're emphasizing practice.
Right. Well,
Does anybody else have something before we get into the practice? Ed, did you have another point?
No, I just want to say I can miss a lot even when I'm here.
Okay. I want to tell you. Yeah, go ahead.
I could testify wearing these lenses, one should not drive.
And I want to tell you, you know, I've been studying this for, you know, over 20 years, and I'm a big note taker, and I'm a big person who spends time with my notes after I take the notes. So it you know, there's a lot underneath the surface, you know, and to me, it makes all the difference. For myself, it made all the difference. You know, when I was a teenager and I was in junior high and high school, I never studied. And it got to a point where I got in high school and I couldn't get away with it anymore. I had to start studying if I wanted to get into college. And I got into college and I did some studying if I liked the classes. But I'm just making a point that the success is based on your personal study. So I think there's agreement there. Anybody else have anything then? Okay. And what I would like to do now is our practice. So if anybody needs to stand up and stretch or anything like that, get a drink of water, now would be the time to do it, and to find yourself a good, comfortable seat on the floor, on a cushion, someplace where your back can be straight and you can be in a respectful, elegant meditation posture. So I'm going to guide you through this. If you've got your 4 thoughts to turn the mind to the Dharma paper, and if you've got your notes on the cultivation of meditation on love and the meditation on compassion that we just went through, is what I'm going to be helping with. And we'll begin with doing a breathing exercise, watching the breath. Watching the breath is a technique where we are using our body, speech, and mind to bring them together. Right now, our body's doing one thing, our brain is doing something else, and our heart mind is maybe lost in the sauce, or it's not recognizable at this point. So what we want to do is bring those 3 together. So the first part of the meditation is to create that mindfulness for ourselves. So if everybody is ready, we sit in the meditation posture, the 7-point posture of Varanchana. Our legs are crossed if we're sitting on the floor, on a cushion. We're sitting on a chair. Our knees are together, our feet are together in an elegant position. We should be comfortable. We need to move at any time because we get cramps or something. It's fine to do that. Don't suffer through any kind of cramps or uncomfortableness. Just do what you need to do to relieve any discomfort. But keep your mindfulness. So then we keep our back straight. We're sitting on a chair, we're sitting on a cushion, we keep our back straight. And our hands are at our knees, on our knees, or our left hand is up, our right hand is lying in our left palm like this, our thumbs are touching, and at our navel, 4 inches or so below our navel. And we pull our shoulders back, and it pulls our arms, it pulls our hands right into our abdomen. So our shoulders should be relaxed. They shouldn't be up around our ears or anything like that, but we should be in this elegant position now with our back straight, our shoulders back, our hands at our knees or at our abdomen. Then our head resting on our neck is a little bit forward, our chin a little bit down in this very relaxed position. So we shouldn't be straining in any way. Our eyes can be open or closed. If our eyes are open, they're in just a gaze, down, looking down in the direction of the nose, 4 feet out in front of ourselves, 3 or 4 feet out in front of ourselves at the floor, not looking at anything special, not examining that which we're looking at, but just a gaze. If it's easier to close your eyes to avoid any distractions, please go ahead and do that in the beginning of the meditation. I think it's good to do that. I do that. So our eyes open or closed, but relaxed. Then our mouth is closed with our tongue at the roof of our mouth behind our front teeth. This keeps our mouth moist. We're breathing in through both nostrils at the same time. And then we bring our breath all the way down to our abdomen, all the way down to our navel through both nostrils. And we hold the breath. And then we exhale through both nostrils again, going out. And we watch the breath going out as a as dark, as negative air being forced out of our body. And when we inhale, we're inhaling fresh, clean, pure air coming in. And then exhaling dark, defiled air, non-virtuous air. If it's helpful to us to breathe through our mouths, either inhale or exhale, do what you need to do, but it's best if you can breathe through your nostrils. So we watch the breath. Breathe in through both nostrils, expand the diaphragm by expanding our belly, our abdomen, which forces the diaphragm down, which opens up the lungs and pulls fresh, clean, pure air in. And we hold that breath. Then we exhale through both nostrils, squeezing the abdomen, squeezes the diaphragm, squeezes the lungs, and pushes all that stale negative air out. And now with this, we're going to enhance this practice just a little bit over what we've done before. And when we exhale, we are going to exhale 3 times. We're going to push this air out by going, ha, ha, ha. So don't be shy. Let yourself expel that air by squeezing the abdomen, squeezing the diaphragm, the lungs, and ha, ha, ha. Then hold that empty breath. Now our lungs should be completely void of any air within it. And breathe in. Hold the breath. Exhale. Ha, ha, ha. Hold it. Watch your posture. Keep your back straight. Inhale. Hold it. Exhale. Ha, ha, ha. Hold the breath. Breathe in fresh, clean, pure air. Hold the breath. Exhale, stale, dark air. Ha, ha, ha. Hold it. Keep your back straight. Breathe in. Exhale. Ha, ha, ha. Inhale. Exhale. ha, ha, ha. Breathe in. Exhale. Ha, ha, ha. Breathe in. Exhale. Ha, ha, ha. In. Out. Ha, ha, ha. Breathe in. And out. Ha, ha, ha. Watch the breath. When your mind wanders, bring it back to watching the breath. Breathe in. The deliberateness of the breathing is our body, disciplining our body. Out. Ha, ha, ha. Breathe in. Out. Ha, ha, ha. In. Out. Ha, ha, ha. Breathe in. You may even find yourself getting a little warmer. It's perfectly natural. Exhale. Ha, ha, ha. Inhale. Exhale. Ha, ha, ha. Breathe in. Exhale. Ha, ha, ha. In. Out. Ha, ha, ha. Breathe in. Out. Ha, ha, ha. Breathe in very deeply. Hold the breath. Exhale very completely. Ha, ha, ha. Hold the breath. Now relax and continue to breathe on your own pace, watching the breath in a relaxed manner, naturally. When your mind wanders, just bring it back to deliberately breathing, watching the breath. Let the mind, the intellect, and the body come into union with each other, watching the breath. Take a deep breath. Raise your arms up over your head. Bring your hands together. Look up through your hands at the ceiling and stretch your back, stretch your neck, stretch your arms if you can. Don't hurt yourself. And just relax. Exhale, bring your arms down, open your eyes. Okay. So that's the body, speech, and mind, mindfulness breathing exercise, watching the breath to bring our body and our intellect together, our intellectual mind. And when we're successful with that, it opens up our heart. It's like a key that fits in and opens up our heart, that we feel relaxed and blissful, rested, natural. So now we turn to the four thoughts and turn the mind to the Dharma. So if you have your text, you can read and follow along with me, or just listen. The freedoms and advantages so extremely difficult to obtain accomplish the purpose of human life. If one does not achieve benefit from this now, how can this opportunity come again? Oh, this kind of leisure and endowment is supremely difficult to obtain. When one obtains a body which is easily lost, do not waste it meaninglessly, but rather use it to attain ultimate liberation, joyous result. So contemplate the meaning of precious human life. Okay. I return to page 2 and 3. Ka, no matter what has been done, nothing benefits at the time of death. Worldly activities, yes, they are lies. Ka, the 8 worldly dharmas are like a painted rainbow. Think you can put your trust in them? Gain and loss, pleasure and pain, praise and blame, fame and disgrace. And the certainty of death and knowing that nothing remains long quickly accomplish liberation. Impermanence makes departure certain, like the shadow of the setting sun. Abandoning laziness and indifference, blaze like fire in fierce diligence. This life is impermanent, like clouds in the autumn sky. Birth and death migrators are the same as actors in a play or a performance. The life of beings is like lightning in the sky, like water falling from a steep mountain cliff. It departs quickly, quickly. The nature of all phenomena is impermanence. Death is a certainty to all who are born. Death can descend any time like a drop of morning dew on a blade of grass. Quick, it is time to make effort for the essence of Dharma. Contemplate impermanence. Okay, next. Page 4. The suffering of samsara. Consider the suffering of beings in the 6 realms of samsara. Doing so, great fear and dread arise in the heart. In the 3 lower realms, and even in the 3 higher ones, there is not an instant of absolute happiness. I will avoid the root cause of my samsaric existence and practice the excellent path of peace to enlightenment. 3 lower realms are the animal realm, the hungry ghost realm, the hell realm. 3 higher realms are the God realm, the demigod, jealous God realm, and the human realm. Contemplate the meaning of the suffering of samsara, the faults of samsara. Okay. Now, how do we get here? How do we get into samsara? Page 5. Even if one were a king At the time of death, one's possessions, enjoyments, friends, and retinue will not follow. But wherever that sentient being goes, his karma follows after him like a shadow. The fruits of one's positive karma is happiness. Suffering is the fruit of negative karma. The inexorable karmic causation is the mode of abiding in all dharmas. Henceforth, practice the Dharma by distinguishing between what should be practiced and what should be given up. Contemplate karma, cause and result. Take a deep breath, hold your breath. Exhale. Okay, maybe stretch a little bit, stretch your arms. Okay. So now we contemplate on loving kindness. We generate loving kindness. We meditate on loving kindness through the mother. So just relax, listen. Just let your heart open up. Keep your body straight. Your eyes closed or open, but just in the gaze. The method, loving kindness. All sentient beings, limitless as the infinite nature of space, have been our mothers from beginningless time until this lifetime. Therefore, to these kind mothers, to sustain happiness, it is necessary for me to relinquish hatred and develop loving kindness. So contemplate, think of the four kindnesses of the mother. She gave birth to our body. She would give up her life for our benefit. She taught us what to take up and what to abandon. And she performed austerities for one's benefit. So now meditate on the kindness of the mother. We're going to meditate for 5 minutes on love. When mind wanders, just bring it back. Bring it back to the mother. Kindness of the mother that she has shown. your parents, your family, your children, limitless mothers. Take a deep breath. And exhale, stretch your arms, Stretch your body, open your eyes. Take a short break here from your meditation. You need to stand up, do that. Move around. When you're doing meditation, it's good in the beginning like this. It's good to do it in short little sections. Don't try and meditate for 45 minutes or half an hour or even 15 minutes. Excuse me, do it in short little bursts. And then it'll grow on its own. You'll expand those short meditations into longer meditations because you'll enjoy it so much. It's the natural state of mind. Our mind is naturally quiet. Our mind is naturally peaceful, naturally happy. Our mind is naturally love and compassion, joy and equanimity. So through this practice, we're creating a mindfulness that is focused on just our peace. Not thinking about the noise of the day, the trials and tribulations that we go through. Just the peace that we enjoy on the cushion. This is the natural state.
Lance,
Yes.
on page 4 here, I've got, I will avoid root cause of my samsaric existence.
Yes.
What is the root cause of the samsaric existence?
It's a combination of things. It's the 5 poisons and their combination of the 84,000 emotions. We don't know exactly what this is and what that is. We just know it's a combination of things. But whatever it is, I'm going to avoid them by practicing the excellent path of peace to enlightenment.
So there's no specific root cause.
No, there's no point in chasing after one.
Okay.
So
It's a
it's not
combination.
not necessary to even begin to try to figure out.
Yeah. Are we going to chase those thoughts or are we going to develop loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity? What do you want to spend time doing? However it is that we got here, now we're here. Now we gotta liberate ourselves from here. So does it matter how we got here or does it matter how we liberate ourselves?
Wouldn't how we got here give us an idea of what we have to do, what we don't have to do to liberate ourselves?
Well, those are the Dharma teachings, yes. But to say, oh, it was because I killed somebody in 1850 in defense of my family, that's why I'm here. Who knows? Oh, I was jealous in the year 1432 of the landowner that lived next door to me, and I wanted his land. Does it matter?
Mm-mm.
The point is that we know those emotions. We know those root causes of the emotions, those 5 poisons, and that's all we really need to know. And then we cut them off. So meditate on that.
Oh, there it is.
Ed, did you have something? I saw you turn your microphone on. That's why I asked.
I'm just thinking about what William said about wouldn't it help if we knew the causes? I have some emotions that I can't explain, or at least I can't explain the intensity of them. I mean, something suddenly makes me a lot more apprehensive or a lot more angry or something than I would think it would. And that has some root cause, I think. And if I could chase down that cause, I might be able to deal with it better. At least that's what I heard him say in a larger context.
Well, if we can see that in the context of our life right now,
Right.
that makes some sense. But to be looking at, why it is that we were born into this life, in prior lives, that's a chase that, is very difficult. But if you want to examine why it is that you're suffering right now, because you did something, you said something to somebody, or somebody did something to you and you reacted, well, that makes sense. Only to recognize it and vow not to do those things again. But the point is, if we spend our time looking at the past, we're missing opportunities to be free right now. Isn't it enough to just say, I've done a lot of defiled things. Yes, I know hatred. Yes, I know delusion. Yes, I know jealousy. Yes, I know greed. Yes, I know attachment, desire, and envy. I know all those things, and I don't want to do them anymore.
How do we know that we're connected to past lives at all? Or where does that come from?
Well, that's a good question, and we can talk about that, but it's not a simple answer,
Right.
to be able to logically break that down and look at that. But there is a time that we can talk about that. If you would like to talk about that, we could do that next week.
I would like to talk about that. I don't know how other people feel, but
No, that's a good topic.
when you mention that it's fruitless to go looking for a root cause in something that happened in the 1800s or the 1400s, and that's not a good use of time or effort. But yet it is potentially a good use of time to look at causes in our own life. So the question is, and I realize this is more than we can deal with now, but how do I know there is more than my own life?
Okay. We'll talk about it next week.
Okay. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, so now let's go and have a meditation, short meditation, 5-minute meditation on compassion. So take a deep breath. Close your eyes, steady your mind, steady your body, keep your back straight. Sit in the 7-point posture of Varanchana. Breathe deep. Exhale. You can follow me on your notes that you might have taken. I will read to you and just visualize what I'm reading. This is the method compassion. Even though these mothers desire happiness, by the force of their non-virtuous action, they are tortured in the 3 lower realms. Because of their unbearable suffering, I develop unbearable compassion. I'll repeat that. Because of their unbearable suffering, I will develop unbearable compassion. So we visualize our mother in the 6 realms of human existence. We visualize our mother being tortured by demons in the hell realm. We visualize our mother suffering of hunger and thirst in the hungry ghost realm. We visualize our mother being beaten and eaten as an animal. We visualize our mother suffering from sickness and old age in the human realm. We visualize our mother in heedless pleasure, careless pleasure, and constant conflict in the jealous God realm. And we visualize our mother in the God realm falling from lack of compassion, from pride of being a God, but then finally falling from that godly realm into the lower realms. So meditate on compassion for the mother. Visualize that you will enter the gates of hell to rescue your mother. The realm of the hungry ghost, to the animal realm, to the human realm, the jealous God realm, with the Deva God realms. We will rescue our mother, all beings as our mother. Take a deep breath. Stretch. Open your eyes. Okay. So then we recite our dedication. So we would have recited our opening prayers, the short refuge prayer, which we did at the beginning tonight, and the four immeasurable qualities, four measurables. So now we do our dedication prayers by reciting. So let's turn to page 20 and 21 in our book. By the virtues collected in the three times, by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate word of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Sri Kumpa Ratna Shri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. Glorious, holy, venerable, precious kind root and lineage lamas, divine assembly of yidams and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Yogins, Yoginis, and Dakinis, dwelling in the 10 directions, please hear my prayer. May the virtues collected in the three times by myself and all sentient beings in samsara and nirvana, and the innate word of virtue, not result in the 8 worldly concerns, the 4 causes of samsara, or rebirth as a Shravaka or Pratyeka Buddha. May all mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me and mine, obstructors who harm, misleading Maras, and the hordes of demons, experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May attachment to fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and through that may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. May the torment of suffering not arise even at the time of my death. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily, and the great luminosity of the mind is such, and the pervading clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo. Om, Ah, Hum. Om, Ah, Hum. Om, Ah, Hum. May my body, speech, and mind become inseparable with the body, speech, and mind of all the enlightened ones. Thank you. So that
Thank you.
seals, you're welcome. That seals the meditation, the practice that we did. So that practice, you can do at home yourself.
Mhm.
You know, you can expand it, you can make it longer, you can make it shorter.
Ever.
But to go through those segments religiously to establish a routine is very important. That's how we develop a practice. Exactly doing this. Then as we progress, we may add some things, but we still always come back to this. And you may do it very quickly as you get familiar with it. You may go through it, you know, what was your karma today? What was your karma? What actions did you do today? And what were their results? And what do you want to do tomorrow? If you did this first thing in the morning, you say, well, what do I want to do today? What do I have to do today? And what karma do I want to actualize today? So this is helping us to establish the mindfulness of that. Okay. Anybody got any questions, comments?
Well, I've got a little bit of a comment. Question. Isn't this what we've been doing tonight? Contemplation rather than meditation?
Yes. Meditation begins by contemplation. We say meditation, but it's a process. And it begins with a system that has certain mechanics to it, a certain routine to it. And then it has contemplation there. But then when we exhaust the contemplation, when we're sitting there contemplating and we exhaust the contemplation, then we just rest our mind. We stop thinking about it. And we just sit there in that blissful meditation. If you try and empty your mind and just say, oh, I'm going to sit here and empty my mind, I'm going to meditate, that's very difficult to do. But if you go through this process, then the contemplation, you exhaust the contemplation, and then the meditation just rises by itself. The thoughts, you can just see thoughts coming and going, and they don't stop. So what precipitates the thoughts? Who cares? That's what the brain does. The brain thinks. That's like trying to stop your heart from beating. It's impossible. But the point is, we stop looking at those thoughts. We stop chasing those thoughts. And how do we do that? Because we've contemplated what those thoughts are. And it just comes to be a time when you say, I'm not going to chase them anymore. Why can we do that? Because we know what the answers are. Because we've exhausted all the possibilities. So next week, we'll look at karma, because that is a very good question. And I know we talked about it in the past, in the recent past, but we'll do it again. And it's difficult to understand. So we have to open ourselves up to experience karma, to recognize karma. So write your questions down. Think about what questions you have about karma, what statements you want to make about karma. Write it down. So, because we might get caught up in the conversation and you forget. So let's talk about karma next week.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all.